Perfect. Fabulous. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Thank you so much for joining us, even though the weather is nice and sunny outside and everyone's itching to be out there. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that the land we identify as RTO9 is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Huron-Wendat peoples. RTO9 honors the land, the people, and the treaties, recognizing the original guides of these territories and their enduring contributions. As treaty people, we all share the responsibility to uphold these agreements in a fair and respectful way. As a partner of Indigenous Tourism Ontario, RTO9 is committed to supporting Indigenous communities by creating space for their stories and helping foster socioeconomic growth through tourism. Now, I just want to touch on a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. First, if you didn't hear, this workshop is being recorded and will be available for viewing after today's session on the RTO9 website, which is just rto9.ca. There will be lots of time for questions. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to pop them into the Q&A box. That can be done anonymously. It's at the bottom of your screen, or you can pop it into the chat window on the side. Jennifer and I will be keeping an eye on things to make sure we're capturing everything. You'll also receive an email following today's session with a quick 2-minute survey link. So if you're able to spare some time to review the workshop, that would be so greatly appreciated. And now, without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to our lovely facilitator this morning, Jennifer Baker.
Good morning and thanks, Meg. My name is Jennifer Baker and I'm the facilitator for today's webinar. Before we get started, I'm going to put a few of my links in the chat. So if you do enjoy what we're talking about, you can follow us along on social media. So today we're going to be talking about Canva, but myself, I am a digital marketing agency owner here in Kingston, Ontario. So we provide done-for-you digital marketing solutions, paid advertising, website design, and I do like and I take on all the training and facilitating. That's kind of my love in this world. For those of you who have been to a webinar before that I've facilitated, you will know that I like questions. So the more I know about you and your business, the more I might lean on it for some of the examples that I go through. So for those of you who have already introduced yourself in the chat, thank you. If you haven't introduced yourself in the chat, let us know where you're from and what you do. As I go through webinars, as we are going to today, I like to use examples from the group rather than using businesses that may not be relevant to everyone. If I can lean on a few different examples from the group, that's what I plan on doing. So the more I know about you, the more I will use you in an example. So if you would like that, please leave it in the chat and I will see it as we go through. So thank you so much for Ruth for getting us started. All right, so what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn a whole lot about Canva. So we're going to learn about things like brand kits and organization tips like folders. We're going to talk a little bit about AI, which is why I think a lot of you are here today. So using the AI tools that are available within Canva. Then we're also going to talk about templates, which I think a lot of you might be either used to or have been using, but there's ways to make your life a lot easier so that you're not wasting a lot of time customizing these templates. And then we're going to wrap up with some additional time-saving strategies as we go through. So as we go through today's presentation, I will present you with some information, some tools, and then what I'm going to do is actually drag over Canva so you can see Canva live, and we will go through live examples. So this is where you come in. So thank you everyone for submitting who you are and where you're from. I will be using you as some of my examples as we go through. All right, so let's just take a minute. I just want to take a peek at who's here. All right, so we've got Kingston and Brighton, Picton, Toronto, Wapoos, Picton, the leadership coach, Kingston Community Health Centers. Picton is professional food stylist. Okay, Trish, the owner of the Tip Ship. Hello. Amy from Belleville, Rivers Edge Wellness, freelance writer in Niagara Falls. I used to live in Niagara in St. Catharines back in the day. Um, Perth Road, Smiths Falls, journalist, Brighton Speedway, AJ Marketing Communication, Ottawa Ski Hill. Oh my goodness, this is great. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Keep them coming. All right, so let's talk about your brand kit. And as we go through today, there's going to be a lot of information, but as Meg has mentioned, it is all recorded, so it all will be delivered to your inbox later today. So the first thing that you want to do is create and develop your brand kit. So that is everything, including all of your logos, your colors, your fonts, your any photos that you use, any graphics that you use. And this is kind of the foundational piece to that efficiency within Canva. So once this is set up, things are going to become so much easier for you. So it matters because you can have that consistency. So if you've ever spent time going, I don't know what color that blue is that we use, or I can't find my logo, or where's that, white logo that we have, making sure it's all set up and ready to go for any project is going to help with that efficiency. The other thing that I'm going to show you how to do later on in today will how to automatically apply all of these brand assets in your brand kit to your designs, which is pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool little tip. And then for those of you who work with team members or maybe outside consultants or outside marketers, you can share this brand kit back and forth so that everybody is working with the same tools so that, person A doesn't use a certain blue and then person B is guessing what that blue is. Everyone's using the same tools across the board. So your brand kit, so you can either use the raise hand function or just say yes, no. Does everyone have a brand kit set up? Is this the first time you're hearing about it? Because if it's the first time you're hearing about it, it's on the left-hand side under brand. So you will see it next to like a little crown, which means that you will need a paid subscription with Canva. So it's available with Canva Pro, Teams, or Education. So if anybody happens to be within a not-for-profit or you work within one of the school districts, you can get Canva for free. So that's a great little asset that you can have. But if we are a business, then you will have to pay for this tool that we have. So this is just an example of a local business. So we've got all of their logos in here. You can actually see all the colors, so all the hex colors in there that we've included. So they had a brand kit developed by an outside marketer, and then we've just included it here. And something that's relatively new to Canva as well is you can set restrictions. So what you allow people to do. So maybe it's not just yourself creating all of these assets. Maybe there's a little bit of a team or there's a few people. But you can see here that you can restrict people using certain colors. You can disable certain effects. You can have approval processes. So this is all available within the brand kit that you can apply or not, depending on how much you want to control moving forward. Okay. So let's take a little peek at our brand kit. Okay. All right. So this is a brand kit for a group of orthodontists that we work for out of Colorado. And it's pretty simple. So you can see that they've got a few different logos in here, different branches. They've got three colors actually. So kind of the teal, the green, and the white is what they use. And then they're different font bases. Other things that they've added in here. So for those of you who have created a brand kit, I'd say a year or two ago, there's a lot more in here that they've added. So if you haven't been in your brand kit lately, take a little peek around. So yes, the logos and colors we've got, great, check. But other things that you can add in here are photos. So anything that's kind of the pre-approved photos. So this is just kind of a different apparatus that they use. If there's any graphics, so they don't use any graphics here, but if there's any graphics that you want to include or any icons, and then you can also see in here that's charts. So that's even new for me as of today. Okay. So that's your brand kit. when you want to change or modify anything in it, you're just going to click this add new. So you can upload, you can add different guidelines in here. Same with the colors, you can add new in here. And then you can use anything in here. So depending on what color codes you've been given, you can modify. So if it's CMYK or if it's hex. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the brand kit before I move on? No? Oh, sharing it. Sharing it. So Krista wants to share it. Absolutely. So right in the top, I hope my face isn't covering it, but there's a share. So you can share it and copy link there. So the brand voice it comes down to copywriting. So does your brand come across as fun or professional or things like that? It's kind of that tone or the voice of the brand. Okay. Okay, so how do you get the color codes of your logo? Okay, so if you don't have a brand kit, or maybe it was made years ago. So I have, if you look in the top of my navigation bar up here, there is a tool that I use. It's called Eyedropper. It's a Chrome plugin. It's free. And basically it will say pick a color from the web. So then I have this little eyedropper. Can you see that white square that's following me around? So I can go anywhere on a web page and pick a color. And then once I've picked it, it's going to give me a hex code or RGB in there. So that's one way to do it. Okay. So I'll just go. All right. Any other questions before we move on? Quiet group. Okay, you're ready. Let's get into the magic tools. And Canva, if you haven't noticed, likes the word magic. So their use of magic refers to AI. So whenever you hear magic, that's their version of AI or AI powered design tools. So we're going to go through a bunch in here. And it's certainly not all of them because we only have a limited amount of time together, but we're going to go through the ones that will probably change your day a little bit. So the first one is called Magic Edit. And this one is pretty cool, I would say. So it's designated over on the left-hand side, but that's kind of like blue box. It looks like they're holding a white wispy flower and then it changes to a rose. So it's called this Magic Edit tool. And it lets you add, replace, or modify elements within a photo using certain prompts. So on the left-hand side, we've got brush or click. So I took this picture of some yarn or it's alpaca wool. I might be getting it wrong, wool or alpaca. So I've highlighted this middle section here in purple. And then my edit that I wanted was replace the yarn with a chicken just to see how weird it could be. And then this is what they came up with. So then they made this gray yarn into a fluffy chicken. So that's one of the little tools that you can do. Now I kind of did it a little bit absurd to see how wild it could get, but it can be simple things that you can do. And we'll go through some examples once we bring up the screen. Okay, so that's your first one. So the Magic Edit. The key with the Magic Edit is to get specific to what you want. The more specific you are, the better the result will be. Okay, so this is a fun one. This one is one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites. So this one is called Magic Eraser. And this basically will remove unwanted parts of an image. So I was doing some photos over the summer, and there's a few people here in this this webinar who are a part of this. But I was doing photos this summer and I was taking this picture and I was like, I wonder if I could, how good it is. Like if I can take out this boat that's floating through here. So I used the brush from the Magic Eraser. I could also click the image and then I said, erase it. So I'm left with a little bit of a shadow, so I'm going to have to play with it a little bit more, but it did a pretty good job. Um, Other things that it can be really good with. So if you see in this picture that I don't know what this is, if it's a frisbee, like this orange frisbee, see, that would be something I would take out of an image. You think, I think this is, puppy's orange frisbee that was left there. We don't need to see this. So be careful with this. Don't completely change the picture to something it's not, but maybe someone left a coffee cup in the background or, puppy's frisbee, and we don't need that there. Those are really good things to take away and erase. Okay. Has anyone tried these two tools yet? Krista has. They're pretty good. Krista and Andrea and Carlin. See, this is how I check to see if you're listening. Yes, I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. So I'm going to get through two more things and then I'm going to drag over my screen and we're going to go through a whole bunch of examples. Okay. So another one is called Magic Animate. And this one allows you to animate different elements within your design. So this one here, I just took a stock image of a bedroom and then I put this heart. So now I've got two pieces to this design. So I've got the image of the bedroom and then I've got a red heart. And then this is what it did. I just did a quick little, straight up. So it allows you to customize. So if you wanted to take an element like the boat and customize it to go across the water, then you could do that. So that's another really useful tool. And kind of the key to the tools that I'm showing you are the useful ones, because there's a lot in Canva. There's a lot that I haven't even discovered yet, but there can be a sense of overwhelm with how much is in this program. So I'm showing you the tools that are going to make your life a little bit easier. But by all means, this is not all of them. And then the one that might really change things for you, if you've ever been tasked with writing something, writing blogs or writing content, is there's an AI writing assistant. So within here, it's called Magic Write, and it does something similar to what ChatGPT is. If you've ever gone there for some brainstorming or blog writing, it's very similar, but now it's all housed within Canva itself. So if for whatever reason management doesn't want you using ChatGPT, maybe it's been blocked, I'm not sure, but you can use it within Canva to get you thinking and to get you starting. Okay, so let's get into all of these different tools. All right, I'm going to take a second and take a peek. Community Engagement Officer. Recreation Committee. Ooh, Ski Hill. Let's maybe try Battle Off Ski Hill. Okay. All right, so we're going to create a design and we're going to make something for social media. And we're just going to do an Instagram post. Okay. The magic tools included in the free version. Some might be, but the majority is now within the paid version. I see that, I don't know what your name is, but the Kingston Jewish Council, if you're not for profit, oftentimes you can get free use of the premium services. So that could be something to investigate. So for anyone associated with an organization, not for profit, school board, they do have complimentary versions. Okay. So we're not going to start with the template quite yet because I just want to demonstrate the different tools. So over on the left-hand side, we're going to go to Elements. And then I'm going to search for skiing. Okay. And then we're going to say, so there's our person. This is probably not Canada, I'm guessing. Let's see. European Alps. Maybe some of us will go there. Okay. So a few different things that we can do with this image. So all of the tools that I was talking about are found under this edit function. So you do need to have the image you're editing highlighted. So see how there's that purple ring around it? We're going to go to edit. And then here's a few things in here. So I didn't talk about background remover, but let's just do this one quick. So background remover. Now we got, oh yeah, detach. So now we've got this guy without his background. So we took out the blue sky and the mountains. So something that you could do that's kind of cool. So now you've got two of him or her, I guess. You don't really know. Let's match these up. Let's match these up. A little bit big. Okay. So there's pretty much. So what you could do with something like this is we're going to say edit. And then we're going to go to filters. And just give it a second. So if you wanted them to pop, you could do something like that. Okay. So now that's one way to do kind of a little bit of a pop. And then if you wanted to add one of my favorite things to do is now the position up at the top. We're going to look at layering. We're going to look at layers, and then I'm going to stick this between that. There we go. I've got a little Ottawa ski hill now. Okay. So there's one little example. So let's do another page. And I'm seeing what other examples we have. Brighton Speedway. Okay, let's do Brighton Speedway. Ensuing, that's car racing. And I'm going to check photos. Okay, so let's just pretend this is kind of a regular car. We're going to go to edit. And then we are going to magic edit. So what you can do is I can either take this brush and brush this whole vehicle, option one. Option two is to take the click. Oh, it does pretty good now. It's doing actually really great. So now I just had to click it twice, and now I've got the whole vehicle selected. Let's just see. So let's change this car to purple. Okay. So on the left-hand side, it's going to provide you with some options. So I think this one is great. And I'll just say done. Okay. So, you know, I didn't take yarn and change it into a chicken. But now we've got a red car and now it's purple. So let's do the next example. And that one is the chicken. Oh, we're removing something. Let's do baseball. for the recreation manager. Okay. So we're going to use this and we're going to use the magic erase. So similar to what we did with the boat. So maybe the recreation manager, Julie, doesn't want these 2 baseballs. Maybe Julie just wants 1. So we're going to select the image and then we're going to say edit. And then we're going to choose this magic eraser, this one in pink over on the left. And you know what? This one is basically just a ball. So I'm going to do this and I'm going to say erase. Didn't do a great job there. So let's do it again. And what I mean by again is we're just going to continue to erase this piece. Okay, so it's not ideal. So what you're going to do is continue to kind of erase this piece, and it will continue to adapt it so it looks like all the grass. So it's not kind of this blurred out, looks like a green golf ball almost. Okay. Alternatively, another tool that I like in here. So we're going to go back to edit. One of my favorite tools is called Magic Grab. Has anyone used this? Krista's all about the Canva, so that's good. I blur never leaves. So what I'm going to do is say, grab this. See, now I've lifted that off of that. And I'm just going to find different grass to put it on. Not the best choice, but it could be something like that. You know, can you lift it off of one and put it on another? Okay. Maybe this one's better. Okay. All right. How are we feeling about this? Do we want another example? And Julie, I do see you want to have music in your Instagram posts. Oh, the animated part. Yes, let's do that. Da, da, da. So let's at least make the thing that we're going to have zooming around actually fly. All right. So now we've got a cityscape, we've got a giant bird. And now we're going to go to animate. So again, we're selecting the item or the element, and now we're going to go to animate. And there's our little bee. So we're going to animate. And that's what our gull does. Okay. Let's go to preview. There you go. And if you think, oh, you know, that's not really exactly what I want, you can make it smooth. You can make it a little bit more steady. So there's some movement styles that you want in here. So the other thing you can do if you think, oh, I don't really want that. You can have different ways that items come in. Okay. And then for any animation, similar to what maybe we would have seen in PowerPoint a decade ago or more, you can have whole pages animated, or you can have the different photos and the different layers all animated as well. But don't get too excited. Sometimes if you get too animated, it will make people nauseous. So just animate cautiously with all of these. And then because I think Julie was asking about sounds, there's audio in here. So you can do voiceovers from within Canva. So there's also the generate the AI voice for those of you who like that. Pros and cons to that. And then here's all the music that you can use. So you can either do it from within Canva, or you can add sound once you get to Instagram itself if you want to use a trending audio, if that's something you'd like to do. Okay. So the next thing we're going to show you is the magic write. So I'm going to go back to Canva homepage. And now I'm going to go to document. So there's lots of other things in here, but we're just going to start in doc. And then there's our magic write. So right at the top, that navigation bar, see how it's slightly different now that we're in a document and not kind of a photo editor. I'll say magic write. And now it's saying describe your writing task. Um, let's really see how this is. So I just said, write me a blog about the importance of tourism in Ontario, Canada. 300 words, 3 paragraphs. Okay, so this is what it came up with. So the importance of tourism in Canada. It talks about iconic Niagara Falls, street to Toronto. It's got an old stat in here. There's definitely some new stats in there since then, but it's certainly a starting point. And the more specific you are with it, the more specific with the instructions, the better the output is going to be. Oftentimes people do prefer ChatGPT, or sometimes there's other tools that they like using, but this is a good start. And then if you want to modify it so it can be more like this, but, and then you want to implement changes, you can change it. So we could just say insert. And now we have our blog. Okay. Okay, so Andrea is asking, are there issues with artist credits when you use Canva music? So that's kind of where it gets a bit sticky. And certainly with YouTube, if you are uploading any reels or shorts into YouTube, copyrights do come back and will just say this is flagged as copyright material. So just be careful with that. You will have to read to see each individual audio file that you use, where it can be used and for how long. Okay. Okay, so magic tools, pros and cons. So probably in the last, I'm guessing, 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years since like the introduction of ChatGPT and all the things. There's pros and cons to using all this AI generation. So number one, it does speed up the process, speeds up content creation, all these magic design, removing backgrounds, removing pieces. It saves time. It would take me days and weeks to do this back in high school, which was 25 years ago. The brand kit helps keep things on brand, which we will get to in a moment. And then it's also easy for non-designers. So if you didn't go to graphic design school, I certainly didn't, but it helps us make good graphics easy. Some of the cons with it, and you may have already noticed this in your own social media, in your own world, sometimes they can feel repetitive or generic, specifically if you're looking for a very custom look. People will say, that's not really my vibe, or that's not my business, and that's not my community. Sometimes it's just as good to go outside your shop and snap a picture. That's going to do more good than trying to generate it in AI. Sometimes the accuracy also can be a little bit dodgy. So you do have to proofread everything. So you have to look very closely at all the images, all the text within the images to make sure that there's no errors, that, people have five fingers, little things like that people catch up on, and they like to point them out in social media. And the majority of them, and it's already been brought up with a lot of the participants today, but a lot of the AI features are dependent on the pro features. So if you are just using Canva for free right now, some of these tools just aren't available yet. So questions about copyright, if you are going to be using these AI tools. Does Canva AI have copyright? You own the AI output that you create. Depending on where you live, however, it may not qualify for copyright protection. Yes, you can use this AI content commercially. So you generate something, of a bird drinking a coffee for your coffee shop. Yes, you can use that. There's going to be no issue with that. And then even if you want to sell it. So if you really love this design that you've made in Canva of a bird drinking coffee, you want to put it on a tote bag and sell it. Yes, you can. All right. This hour is going by very quickly. So the next little bit that we're going to talk about today is templates. So we're going to talk about searching and customizing. But before we do that, there's a question. Is there a way to use Canva without AI? Yes, absolutely. We're going to kind of do that now. So you don't have to use those tools. It's just something that people ask about. Trish, it depends on what you're doing, I would say. So my web developer, who's unfortunately listening to this all secondhand, she uses the Adobe suite, and that's her jam. That's what she uses. The rest of us in the office, we're all Canva people. So depending on what you need it to do, different tools for different purposes. Okay, so templates. There's what, a million of these templates in here. They're pre-designed layouts that are built. They're created by professional designers. They're uploaded into Canva for us to use. So there's everything in here from social media templates to resumes, menus, invitations, flyers, and so on. And where people get stuck with a lot of these templates is they don't customize their search as much as they maybe should. So what I would recommend the next time you go to grab a template from Canva, be very specific about what you're looking for. Don't just say like business Canva template. If you're a restaurant and you're looking for something to advertise your new breakfast, say breakfast or breakfast menu or breakfast restaurant. If you want to get more specific, throw colors in there too. So if you are a restaurant that is blue tones, start with that, because then it's going to it'll help you get through things a lot quicker. And then getting into specific categories as well. So for those of you who manage any I'll say restaurants, cafes, anything that serves food, there's a ton of menu options in here as well. So they're great for the little standees on tables. If you want full scale menus, it's a really excellent starting point. And then you can start to customize quickly. So you can select once you get your templates, you can select multiple elements and modify them all at the same time. And if you haven't done this already within your templates, there's a change all button. Sorry, my curtains are flapping. There's a change all function that allows you to change all the elements in a specific design all automatically. So you're not individually going through everything. Okay. So when you're starting to create templates and a design and a look, as you go through and look for templates, try to find 12 to 15 unique designs and then use your brand template to customize everything. So let's do that. Okay. So we're just going to do an Instagram. I'm seeing if I haven't used some examples yet. Leadership coach, freelance writer, natural health clinic. Okay, so let's design. I'm going to just say natural health clinic. And look at, they're all blue, but I want green. Okay, so we've got one. I'm just going to grab a bunch. Are these all different? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'm just going to do 4 for now. We're not going to do 15 as suggested. So now I've got a whole bunch of different templates. I like them. This is what we're going to stick with, but they're all kind of different. So one thing that you can do, so if you highlight the text box and click your text color, let's just say I want to change it to pink. I'm going to say change all. See, right at the bottom, bottom left. Change all. Right, so now that changed everything in there. And now this green thing here, I'm going to do the same thing, change all, if that so happens to exist. But you think, hey, Jennifer, you talked about those brand kits a while ago and now you just abandoned them. So let's go over to a brand kit and let's pick one that has lots of colors in it. Let's just pick this one. It has lots of colors. Okay. So you could do it kind of the way I was doing it earlier, which is quick. The other thing you can do is once you have your brand kit up, see this, if I hover on the colors, it says shuffle. It's just going through your brand kit and now it's giving you options. So what I like to do is I duplicate the page and I'm like, okay, give me another one. Duplicate the page. Give me another one. Okay. Let's get another one. Okay. So now these ones are really similar. You can get a whole bunch of different examples of colors that you like, and then really cherry pick the ones that you want. And you could even use, 1, 3, and 5. Those are your top. But now you've got different colors, so they look different, and it's not going to be identical every time you post. Okay. So it's changing everything all at once for you. And then the same thing here. We're going to select this. We're going to shuffle it. Going to select, this one's different because it's got an image, so it's not going to change that. Maybe we can find one that kind of works. And then this, shuffle. Just did something weird here. Maybe the text is weird. Okay. So see how you can start to go really fast once you've got a good template? It is, yes. Though there's no brand templates in this package specifically, but it would. So let's maybe grab this one because this one's really off. And now we go to brand and we can shuffle through that. Okay. Okay. So this is a really quick way to get that 12 to 15 different templates that you're going to consistently use, and they're all going to flow. The one thing you do have to watch is any of these elements back here. So, you know, that kind of green doesn't match. So you may try to find something else. And then even these kind of graphic elements, I think they're lemons or limes or something. They don't quite match. So maybe it's finding something else that will. Okay. Has anyone tried this before? Yes. Andrea, I'll leave your question till the end because we're almost through, and then we will just get to the general Q&A because we are almost at time. And I will put all of my contact information there again. All right. So I'm going to leave you off with some time-saving tips, and then we will just get to the Q&A because I know you probably have lots of questions. So number one, organize with folders. So whether you're working with one client, maybe it's just you with lots of departments, folders are going to help really save a lot of time. So keeping all the same assets together, the images, all your designs. Otherwise, I'm sure you've all gone through that Canva scroll, and you're like, I don't know what this is called. Another tip is make sure to name things because oftentimes there's a lot of untitled 12 and it's very difficult to find things. How often do you do that for folders? For you, Krista, I would probably, because I know your organization, I would do it either based on partner or department, like if it's outside partner agency, or if it's department, I would use folders for those purposes. Oh, how do you do that? Not how often do you do that? Okay. So basically it's over on the project folder, and then you can say add new. So project folder, add new, and then you can see a bunch of other things in there, but you can say add folder. Okay, duplicate designs. Also one of my favorite things to do. So if you've gotten approval for a specific set of designs, so even what I just did earlier with those different colors, I would keep that as a template, duplicate it, and then start making content out of there. So you're not rewriting anything that you've previously done. You can always go back. Another tool that people often like is the magic resize. It's getting better. It's not, I think, what a lot of people thought it was going to do, but it can take all your designs and resize it into a different size. Photoshop's great for something like this. Canva, they're not quite there yet. So you can make something sized for Instagram and resize it for like a Facebook banner. It's not perfect. You're going to still have to modify things and move things around, but at least the colors there, the graphics are all there, the text is all there, and then it's a matter of placement. And then making sure to download in bulk. I've seen people where they download individual pages rather than just a whole zip file, which, you know, it is what it is. Another thing that's going to help as well is to make sure you name all of your designs so that you don't end up with, 24 images, numbers 1 through 25. Like, where are these going? So oftentimes if I am creating social content, I'll have the client name with a date next to it so that I know how to organize it once it's come out of Canva. So Carol's asking, can you take documents from outside and copy to Canva? Like a text document, I'm thinking. But yes, you can upload photos, videos, audio. Yep. Yes, you can. If I'm reading this correctly, yes. Okay. All right, so that brings us to the whirlwind end of Canva. So we did talk about your brand kits and folders. We talked a little bit about the AI tools that are available within. Talked a little bit about the customizable templates and how to retain that consistency. And then a few little time-saving strategies that I found that work really well over the years. So we've got probably 8-9 minutes, and I can take all of your questions. In the meantime, the next time I will be seeing you is October 23rd and October 30th for meta advertising. So without further ado, let's get some questions. So Krista, do you ever teach about Canva video? I typically do. It can be difficult on Zoom because if you notice, even when I was doing some of the graphic AI stuff, it was getting choppy. It's even worse when I try and do video editing. So oftentimes I'll just do it in person rather than virtually. Oh, okay. Yes. Insert a, could you please how to insert a logo and remove the white background? Yes, let's do that. And then Meg can find all the questions I've missed. So let's just add it in here. I don't know. Let's see. Most of these, this one still has a white background, I think. Okay. So Angelique. So here's a logo. It's got the white background. I'm going to change this so it's not dark though. Okay. So what you can just do is background remover. So that's all you do. It's just background remover and then you are good to go. Okay. You're welcome. Do you still offer marketing coaching? No, Tanya, I don't actually. I haven't taught at the college in I think 2 years now. I had a question earlier if you knew if Canva is a good substitute for MS Publisher. I don't even know what MS Publisher is. I looked at my office. I don't know what that is. Do you teach Canva video in groups or only single sessions? I can do groups. For the tech reasons I've mentioned before, certainly I can do groups in person is a bit easier because the bandwidth, it just gets pretty chunky. I've tried it a few times just on my own and the user experience isn't great. How do you extend an image to fit full the page? So a few different options. So let's do elements and then bird because I like birds. Actually, let's do the Yukon because I want to go to the Yukon again. So when you insert the image, you can do this. You just click on it. If you drag and fill, you can do that. You can set it as the background, so it's right at the back. But otherwise, you can do it kind of this way as well. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Recording of the session, I believe Meg is going to be sending that out to all the participants. Thank you, everyone. If you did like today's session, you can leave a review. I'll still answer here. When I apply my brand font template, so Andrea, I haven't had that before, but it probably would be worth almost putting a help ticket into Canva because it just might be a bug that if they knew about and if there was enough people, they would look into fixing. Cost for Canva, I think I pay $120 a year and it's myself and 4 teammates. So it's just $120. So it's about $10 a month.
that was actually leading into a question I had for the audience was just like what is the limit of the free version versus the paid version? Like, is it worth it to spend?
I would say yes for $120. Like you can spend $120 pretty quick in your business, but this one will last 12 months and you'll use it probably every single day. Um, as you're going through the free version, anytime you see the little crown, that means it is, like this picture here, that's a paid picture. So you'd have to pay for it. So it does unlock, I'm just it does unlock a lot more features and really for $10 a month. I don't get paid by Canva. I just really like the program. I don't get any, affiliate marketing. I don't get any of that, but it's a really, really great program. Any
Well,
other
if I
questions?
see any more, I'll keep an eye out for it if I see anything come in. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Jennifer. You're
You're
always so
welcome.
knowledgeable about everything. And I was sitting here watching it going, oh, I didn't know it could do that. So worked out for me too.
There you go.
Learning
And
experience.
the thing is they always add new things. So like what I talk about today is not going to be the same things. Like, yes, there's going to be overlap, but there's always something a little bit new where you're like, oh, that's new.
It's always worth investigating and trying things out and seeing if the new stuff
Absolutely.
is worth using on a more regular basis. So thank you, Jennifer, and thank you everyone for watching. I see one other question in here, Jennifer, just really quickly. Julie
Oh,
says, can you size an image with pixels?
oh, like if you want I think so. I think if what I'm getting at. So like if you do a resize, you can do custom size, and then you can do by pixels, inches, millimeters, centimeters. And the same thing goes in the photo editor as well. So if that's like you need a specific size for web design, then you can do that in there. So yeah.
Perfect. And I see another one here that's asking about music and where you can find it in Canva.
Oh, music is under elements and then it's under audio. So look for audio and not for music. And then you're gonna, well, this is just Yukon, but it's all the audio files are in there.
Perfect. Okay, I think we got everybody.
All right.
And everyone watching, just a friendly reminder, yes, we're going to see Jennifer again in October for these two sessions on Meta. Next week, we also have an information session on ChatGPT and how to get started using it if that's something that you're interested in doing. And we also have Destination Discovery series coming up. If you are from the region and you are interested in knowing more about your DMO, DMP, DMMO, if you're wondering what the heck I'm even talking about, then these sessions would be perfect for you. You can find all of that on our website, just rto9.ca. Everyone is going to get a follow-up email today that includes the recording from today's session. Again, it's also going to include a quick survey if you want to give Jennifer and I some feedback. We'd really appreciate it. And other than that, we're gonna wrap up perfectly at 11. We'll give you your time back and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you once again to Jennifer for being so knowledgeable and
Thank you.
sharing some time with us and teaching us all there is to know about Canva. Perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, Jennifer. Thank you.